All right, we're going to walk up to the double check and test it, okay?
All right.
Which way is the water flowing?
Left or right?
This way, right? From the inlet to the outlet, correct? It's the first thing we always have to figure out, right? All right, next thing we're going to do is flush our test cocks. So we've opened 4, leave it running. Then we'll come over here and open 3, open 2, open 1. We're going to flush it just like we did the RP. Then we're going to go back and we're going to close them all back up. We're going to close 1, close 2, close 3, and after that, we close 4 after we finish maintaining the flow. Good deal?
Yeah.
Now, where does our high side hose go?
Test cock 2.
Goes to test cock 2. That goes to our gauge, correct?
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll open it up, cut it on, bleed it off, shut the bleed off. What should we be reading?
Line pressure.
The line pressure, right? What's our line pressure in our scenario?
100.
It's going to be 100. So we started off with 100 right here. Now what do?
Shut off.
Valve 2.
Close shut off valve 2.
I'm going to close shut-off valve number 2. Okay? So I'm going to reach over here, and I'm going to close shut-off valve number 2 right here. It's dead. There's no more flow going out of that assembly, right? Then what do I have to do?
Close shut off valve 1.
Close shut-off valve number 1. There we go. Alright, now what do?
Open the TC3.
Open test cock number 3. Letting all the water out. So what pressure is right here behind check valve 1? 0 PSI, right? How much pressure is trapped on the front side of check valve 1?
Minimum of 1.
At least 1.0. So what is my gauge reading?
Whatever it
Whatever that is.
is.
Whatever the amount of pressure is trapped on the front side of check valve 1 right here is what my gauge will be reading. Okay? So, after I get check valve 1 differential, what do I do now? What do I have to get next?
Check valve 2.
Check valve 2 differential. So what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of all this, right? So we'll come in here, and where does our high side hose go now?
TC3.
Alright, before we do that, first thing we're going to do is cut the water back on and re-energize the assembly. Okay? Then we'll take everything, we're going to move it all down. So our high side goes onto test cock 3, isn't that what you told me?
Yes.
Alright, that's in front of check valve 2. So I've cut it on, fill it up, get my line pressure. We lost at least 1 pound of pressure on the check 1, so what's my line pressure now?
99.
Around 99, we'll say at minimum. Alright, after that, what do I do?
Cut off. Shut off valve 1.
That's right. Cut the water back off. Not a problem. Alright, now what do I do?
Open TC4.
Open test cock 4, allowing all the water to flow out. Okay. How much pressure is trapped behind check valve 2 at this point? Should be 0. How much is on the front side of check valve 2? 1.0. Minimum, right?
Minimum.
Does it pass?
Yes.
We're good to go, right?
Yeah.
Same thing as we did on check valve 1. At this point, though, what we can also tell is the evaluation of shut-off valve number 2. If I had water to continue to push out of test cock 4, what is that telling me? That's right, I have leaking shut-off valve number 2 with back pressure. Alright? So what happens if it does not come out, but instead we do not have any water come out and the water recedes?
Still got a leaky shut off. Let it go in.
We got a leaking shut-off, but instead of coming out with back pressure, it's now just flowing out of the assembly back to the customer side. Okay? So we can actually evaluate shut-off 2 at this point. Sound good? Is there anything else we really need to know?
No.
No, not at all. So what do we have to do now?
Shut off the test cock.
Close them all.
Leave the line.
Open all the water.
Put water back on.
We'll finish everything. We disconnect everything. At that point, what we're going to do is come over here. We're going to open shut-off valve number 1, allowing flow into the assembly. It'll move through check 1, then it's going to flow through, then it's going to come to check 2, pressurize it, move through check 2. After that, it's going to hit shut-off number 2. When it finishes pressurizing, then what do? Open shut-off number 2 and allow the customer to have water slowly. Right?
Yes.
Always slowly. If we don't do it slowly, we create a
Water hammer.
water hammer. Water hammers are not only dangerous, they cost money. Got it?
Got it.
All right. The only other thing we're going to change here is we are going to add a sight tube to test Cox 3 when we test check valve 1.
You just move it over.
And when we test check valve 2, we're going to move our sight tube over to test Cox 4. What the sight tube is used to do is to actually create our equilibrium with the face of our gauge. So our gauge should be over here, and in the very center of it should be the top of our sight tubes. If we do not maintain the equilibrium, what we're going to have
False reading.
is a false reading because elevation changes pressure. Okay? If we raise the test kit 6 inches above the sight tube, we're going to gain almost half a psi. If we lower it below it, we're going to lose almost half a psi. Got it? All right. After that, guess what? Guess what?
Done.
We're done. Pack up, go home. Everybody got it?
Yep.
All right.